So for me, it was unfortunately going through the hardships of that type of thing, right? So growing up in my first years of trading in the late 90s with the dot coms, it was so like I was having these flashbacks to the dot com era and when I was watching what was going on in crypto and whether it's the emotion, the greed, all those things were going on. And I had learned the tough way, right? I was the beginning trader in the dot com era where I learned the hard way. I saw everything collapse. I lost money during that period. And there was, it's interesting because every year in the markets, it could be commodities, stocks, or crypto or anything else. There's always a bull market somewhere. And generally these things tend to repeat over and over. So I wish I had some master formula, but it's honestly, it was going through it so many times where you get caught in it in the beginning. Then you start to it's like touching a hot stove. You get burned a couple times and you're like, wait a minute. And then it's kind of starting that discipline road. You start to kind of recognize the cues. You say, listen, don't get caught up in the hype. And it's kind of building that framework for being that trader where you become much more robotic, right? It's not about the emotion. You learn to not chase things when they're running up and everyone else is chasing. So I think for me, that's what it was. It was learning from experience, in my early years as a trader.
Hello and welcome to Crypto IQ. In today's video, veteran trader Gareth Soloway shows us the Bitcoin chart and breaks down his reasoning on why he thinks we will see more pain in the markets, as well as what prices he's watching.
You can clearly see that the current price of Bitcoin is still below that June low right there of support, right? So we know that this is a drop. So this is technically a bearish inside bar pattern, bearish flaggish in spirit of bear flag. And it hasn't even been able to regain the price point from June. So for me, that's a major issue short term for Bitcoin. I still think we could go up and touch that line, but that'll be a level that I'm watching closely. Overall, I continue to be in the camp where this area down here, which I think is right around your 14,000, 13, 14 area here, 14, this is going to be a big level as well. And I do think eventually we retest that level on the downside. Now, for me, I kind of took it a step further when I was analyzing like where Bitcoin could bottom. I've been doing a lot of research because everyone wants to know where could Bitcoin bottom. And obviously, please keep in mind that this is just an opinion based on charting and history. But for me, I basically took FTX's fiasco and I likened it to the Lehman Brothers collapse in the stock market. And this is where my stock education kind of comes in, where I can bring these things out that I went through as a trader and kind of use them. And so when Lehman Brothers collapsed, it was a bank. They took on too much leverage. They did some stuff they shouldn't have. And eventually they failed. From that point, the stock market dropped 45% more till the March low of 2009. And it took about 5 to 6 months. So if FTX is kind of that scenario for the crypto markets, it puts the bottom on Bitcoin somewhere in I would say the May to June period, right? That 5-6 months out from now. Period. And it probably puts us right around the $10,000 to $9,000 range. The reason I like 10,000 in terms of a break point and thinking that we could break that on Bitcoin is simply that that's going to be where max pain is probably initiated for most crypto investors. So we know psychologically, investors probably will put stops at 10,000. We know that psychologically that's going to be like, oh my goodness, if Bitcoin ever breaks 10,000, it's going to be a fiasco. Everyone's going to freak out about it, which oftentimes can be the marker of a low in a chart. There's no doubt that you haven't reached that and the reason you can tell that is because you still see people posting on Twitter and stuff like that. Oh, the low is in. I mean, here we go. And every $100 uptick in Bitcoin, it seems like that's kind of the thing that people are saying. And the key to bottoms is when people are just like, it's like crickets, right? Everyone's just depressed. No one's saying anything positive. You even get people saying that Bitcoin will not be here in a year or two. I mean, that's really the marker. And by the way, that's again the psychological side that all of us that are education fiends for crypto or anything, you have to be ready to withstand. You go back to your thesis and you say, is my thesis still valid even when I'm saying this? Because it's going to make people, even like myself, question myself. And you have to be strong enough to just say, no, this is the thesis. This is what happens in bear markets. Let's withstand it and let's look for that reversal. Yeah, I was going to say bear markets are the place where people make their money, right? I mean, this is where it's not when you're buying at 65 or 69,000 on Bitcoin where your risk reward is horrendous. It's when the market is decimated and you're getting an asset that has major future value at such discounted levels. So, I mean, always remember that bear markets, if you know how to trade them, it's better than anything in the world in terms of generating money. And again, this is where the risk reward factors in, right? So let's say Bitcoin goes to $9,000. You're basically, your reward here is about $8,000 versus if it starts squeezing up, you could lose 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000. So I think that, again, this is a great example where people are trying to chase, and chasing is the worst thing you can do. And I always like to use the analogy of, like, for some reason, investors, they're willing to like pay higher prices, or in the case of shorting, pay lower prices. But like when we go to the mall to buy some jeans or a pair of shoes, we don't go to the mall and, we see it on sale at $100 one week, and then the next week it's $500 for that same pair of jeans. We don't go, oh my God, I got to buy 10 pair of jeans. Like you say, no, like let me wait for this thing, So that's the same thought process. You have to translate what we do at the shopping centers and the stores into your trading. It should be the same mindset. You're looking for deals. You're looking for sales. By the way, for everyone listening, I mean, please keep that in mind, is like everyone that is a pro now started out as a newbie at some point, making all the mistakes that you've ever made, losing, I lost 70% of my portfolio in one day trading. I mean, so for me, it would be go smaller and kind of be more humble in terms of understanding that any trade can go against you. There's no surefire trade. There's no 100% in anything. And really just don't chase. Don't chase, stay patient. Remember, there's always another trade on the horizon.
So do you agree with Gareth on where the markets are headed? What prices are you watching? Let us know in the comments. Also, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.